For this question, I'll speak about how conventions are followed, developed, or challenged in all three of my products. In this video, I'll be looking at my documentary, which focused on social media and mental health, and included the common documentary conventions such as a title sequence, credits, vox pops, a presenter, facts and statistics, and a few more. I will be comparing my product to the documentary series Queer Britain and Morgan Spurlock's Super Size Me, as these are the two which I use for inspiration while editing and constructing. In terms of content, our documentary has a title sequence. This is used in many documentaries to introduce the subject. It is also used to present the title and the key production and cast members, and often utilises conceptual visuals and sounds to do this. We used a montage of Instagram posts related to mental health in our title sequence. Here we see the title sequence for the documentary Queer Britain. For the beginning of Queer Britain, a montage of portraits is used, which has the same effect as the montage of Instagram posts used in our documentary, as this gives an idea to the audience of what it is about. Our documentary also has credits, which are a way of giving recognition and acknowledgement. We give the presenter recognition by adding on-screen credits. We ensured to include an on-screen presenter as our aim was to make a performative documentary, and documentaries of this mode often have a presenter who is given credits to conform to conventions. The presenter is a huge part of the documentary, therefore it wouldn't make sense not to give credits, and introducing the audience to the name and role of the presenter could also make a slightly intimate connection with the audience, making them want to continue watching the documentary, which is why we chose to add this convention. The presenter of Queer Britain introduces himself using a voiceover, which is probably because Queer Britain is a much longer documentary series, while ours is only 5 minutes long, so we did not have enough time for the presenter to do this herself. Now I will look at the use of expert interviews. The experts in our documentary were given on-screen credits to show acknowledgement and emphasise their status as professionals. Experts are practically always given credits, no matter what the type of mode of the documentary is. Expert interviews in general are also a huge convention of documentaries, especially for informative and awareness-spreading ones like ours. These give an official aspect to the documentary, considering the experts are professionals who are well aware about the topic. We followed this convention by interviewing college counsellors who speak to teenagers who suffer with mental health on a daily basis. I chose to add expert interviews so that the audience was satisfied with the information provided in the documentary, considering they are likely to trust professionals. The shot type used for both the interviews was a mid-shot, which does not follow general documentary conventions, considering close-ups are often used. We chose to challenge conventions by using a mid-shot to record the expert so that the setting of the interview is more apparent, as using a mid-shot allowed the cameras to record the window, which had students occasionally walking past to create a mise-en-scène. Super Size Me looks at experts related to physical health to inform the audience about the health issues related to unhealthy eating. It uses a similar shot type as my documentary, yet the interviews were mostly to the right of the screen, sticking to forms and conventions. This leads us on to mise-en-scène. The setting, location and dressing of the expert should match the topic of the documentary and the expert's job to create the correct mise-en-scène. The mise-en-scène in our interviews correlates with the topic of the documentary, as counsellors were filmed in their offices, which had posters relating to mental health hanging on the walls, and there was a desk with a computer to show that the location is an office. The clothing of the counsellors is also formal, showing that they are in their workplace. Similarly, Super Size Me uses the doctor's office as the location of filming to emphasize their professional status as an expert and to show a relation with the expert and the topic of the documentary. Following the convention of a related mise-en-scène made our expert interviews and documentary overall much more effective. Socially Mental also includes conventional vox pop interviews to get the view of the public on social media and mental health. Vox pops also allowed the audience to either relate or see the popular opinion among the crowd. We positioned our interviewees to the left of the screen to provide a variety of shots to make the documentary interesting, and also because vox pops are conventionally positioned to the side of the screen. This has been done in the popular documentary Super Size Me, which zooms in on the two-shot of Morgan and the vox pop interviewee, so the interview is on the right side of the screen. This is again following conventions because, like mentioned before, vox pops often only occupy a side of the screen. Facts and statistics were heavily used in Super Size Me, especially during the introduction, to give an insight into why the documentary is being made and to make people aware of the issues being presented. Facts and statistics are extremely traditional for documentaries, especially those which are educational and wish to inform, and Super Size Me and Socially Mental are both documentaries which wish to inform. My documentary used statistics and facts in the introduction to make the issue behind the documentary clear, therefore also conforming to forms and conventions of mental health documentaries. Super Size Me showed statistics in the introduction to make the audience aware of the issues behind eating unhealthily and to demonstrate facts related to certain fast food chains. We used a voiceover combined with background footage. Voiceovers and background footage are both separate conventions. However, I have used them both by combining them to set the location. Performative and participatory documentaries often do this when establishing a location. To introduce the location of where the Vox Pops were filmed, the presenter's voice was placed over videos that were edited into a montage to show the location which we filmed our Vox Pops in.
We went to the Sixth Form College Solihull and Solihull Town Centre to see what students thought about mental health and social media.
Queer Britain uses this to show the location of where the presenter is headed, with his voiceover being played over a montage of places in the town.
In finding himself on the outside of his faith, but there are faith groups all over the UK opening up to the LGBTQ community.
Despite following so many conventions, there were some more which we decided to challenge or develop. For example, archival footage. Archival footage was included in our documentary. However, our archival footage was different than traditional images or videos, considering it consisted of screenshots of Instagram posts and screen recordings of social media apps instead. Conventionally, archival footage in a mental health documentary is usually videos or images of people suffering or showing symptoms of the illness. So our archival footage clearly challenged the genre's convention, as it was not similar to this in any way. We did this intentionally to make our documentary more likely to interest our target audience of young adults and teens, because they are stereotyped to be social media obsessed. So combining social media with mental health will make the subject and content of the documentary more interesting for them. Supersize Me uses archival footage in the form of a video in this example, which we did not do, like mentioned above, to challenge conventions. In our final product, I feel that using the type of archival footage we did was beneficial, as it made our documentary more entertaining to watch, especially for our primary target audience. Music is conventionally used throughout a lot of our documentary, and for the most part, the music in our documentary is related to the topic of mental health. However, in the beginning, the music used for the montage in the title sequence was pretty fast-paced and slightly sci-fi, and challenged conventional music used in a mental health documentary. I challenged this convention as I felt as if this music followed the pace of the fast-changing montage and looked and sounded synchronized. I also use this type of music in the beginning as it relates to destigmatizing mental health, because it's not depressing or upsetting, and destigmatizing the issue is mentioned by both our experts. This convention was also challenged because I felt like this type of music would grab the attention of the audience more compared to music that is usually used in a mental health documentary. Supersize Me uses a children's nest rhyme in the beginning, which is also quite striking and interesting, so it has been done to grab the attention of the audience, similar to the reason why I challenged this convention. In the proposal, we said we wanted to create a performative documentary. However, there was no performing in our documentary, and so it took the participatory mode instead. We did this intentionally because we later realised that we did not have enough time to get the presenter to perform. Overall, I feel as if our documentary followed the conventions mentioned efficiently and developed and challenged others quite effectively, as the way in which we constructed the forms and conventions in our documentary allowed us to encode a meaning. As Stuart Hall's encoding and decoding theory states, a specific message is encoded into any media by the producer who will want this to be decoded in the preferred way. This brings in the reception theory, which states that messages in media can be interpreted in either the preferred, the negotiated, or the oppositional way. The message in our documentary will most likely be decoded by the audience in the preferred manner because of all the facts and statistics and experts included, suggesting that our documentary has been constructed efficaciously.